Joining us again, America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. He's also the managing director of Geltrude and Company. Dan, welcome back to the program here. You know, we're seeing 4.4% unemployment rate jumping up to that point. Is that really an accurate number that we can trust, or could it be even higher?
I think that it's going to be much higher. These are lagging indicators. So when we're looking at the number of jobs lost for the month of March, obviously we're into April, and every day more and more jobs are being lost. So I don't think there's any doubt, unfortunately, that we're going to see that percentage grow and the overall number is going to grow.
And if we break down the data, it really does impact a lot in the hospitality sector. We've got restaurants and bars as well who are seeing a great deal of layoffs to their employees, which we know because people aren't able to go out to their favorite restaurants during this time. You know, what does it say for these industries specifically that we're seeing all of these job losses? And is the federal government doing enough at this point to help save them?
I think the federal government is doing all they can. When we're looking at the hospitality industry, very specifically restaurants, well, with social distancing and, quite frankly, people not being able to go out, there's no way that restaurants can possibly stay in business during this period of time. So unless the government is really going to supply that specific industry with much more of an infusion of cash, I don't think a lot of these restaurants, unfortunately, are going to make it past the hump of the virus. There's just no way. I think there's going to be a ramp up in the restaurants. And what do I mean by that? I don't think all of a sudden one day restaurants are just going to be open. I think we'll probably see them open and they'll be at maybe half capacity, and that's probably not enough revenue to sustain them. So if we're going to try to keep the restaurant industry going, there has to be a lot more assistance from the federal government.
Potentially that could come in phase 4. Maybe we'll see a few more phases from the federal government by the time this is all over. Hopefully they'll be able to come together and figure out something quickly. Dan, I want to talk to you because we introduced you as America's accountant right now. Of course, we're now in the time frame of tax season. Of course, April 15th normally being the deadline. That's been extended at this point. What have you heard about people filing for their tax returns? Are they trying to keep on track for it, or are they taking advantage of the extension?
They're actually trying to file on a timely basis, particularly if they are going to get a refund. There's no reason to wait. That's your money. So if you have a refund, make sure you're filing and getting your money on a timely basis. This is not the time where we want to have the government holding on to your funds. So go out and get them. So in our firm, we're seeing that clients really are responding more enthusiastically about filing than ever before, especially, like I said, if they're going to be getting a refund.
Right. Some time for extra money. We all know we could use it right now. Dan, I also want to talk to you again about those big claims for unemployment coming out now. It's about the past 2 weeks. We're seeing about 10 million total, 6.6 for the week of 6.6 million, I should say, for the week of March 28th. You know, you mentioned we were going to see more in the unemployment rate going up. Are we going to see more people filing for jobless claims in the future as well in the weeks to come?
Yeah, there's no question about it. I think that the month of April is going to be probably the worst month we've ever seen with unemployment claims. The president was very clear that we're in for a pretty tough 2 weeks coming up, and there's no question about the fact that's going to have a dramatic impact on whether people are going to be able to keep their jobs or not. We just have a situation where companies cannot sustain holding on to their employees because of drops in revenue, and there's not much they can do. Even though the federal government is making money available the best they can in the form of loans, even forgivable loans, it's just not fast enough. I think that we are, from a small business standpoint, 2 to 3 weeks out of companies getting that money at the earliest. So it's just the timeliness is just not there. So I think the claims continue to rise, unfortunately.
I know, more doom and gloom to expect here. Let's talk briefly about retirement accounts and 401ks as well. Is that, are you going to tell us more bad news with those?
Well, what we're seeing there is a lot of companies are now cutting back on their matching contributions, which ends up being somewhat of a double whammy. Why do I say that? Is because right now there are pretty good opportunities in terms of getting into the stock market. So if you're fortunate enough to have your job, and if you do, you should continue to contribute into your 401k. Not having that extra money from your employer puts a little bit of salt in the wound, but employers are looking at where they can cut back, and to the extent that their plan document allows them to either cut back or completely discontinue contributions into 401ks, unfortunately, companies are looking very hard at that.
All right. Some unfortunate news there from Dan Geltrude. Always great talking to you, though. Of course, America's Accountant encouraging you, if you can, file your taxes. You might get your refund, which would be some good news.